I just saw somebody say they're waiting for the big, beautiful obituary. That honestly might be better than Trump is passing everything but away. The big, beautiful obituary is crazy. Every day I wake up in fucking America and I'm just wishing, I'm hoping and wishing and praying that I'm gonna see that headline. I have fireworks ready to go. I have an American flag ready to wave. I'm gonna be wearing red, white, and blue every single day. I'm playing Party in the USA. I'm playing Born in the USA. There's so many different things to do. There's so many different ways to celebrate. I'm throwing the biggest party fucking ever. I don't care. I don't care if my apartment is at maximum capacity. We are partying for 3 days straight. I'm getting a cake. I'm getting a piñata with his face on it. The playlist is going to be strictly, I'm proud to be an American. All of that bullshit. I'm getting a bald eagle tattooed on my ass. Like, there is so many different things to do.
That's just one of hundreds, if not thousands, of videos on TikTok where someone is openly dreaming about how they're going to celebrate news of Donald Trump's passing. And I've noticed that this trend has exploded following speculation about Donald Trump's declining health. There's the obvious cognitive decline that's obvious to all of us, the swollen ankles, the bruises on his hands, not to mention the heaven talk. And all of this has got a lot of people on social media hopeful that his inevitable demise will come sooner rather than later. And if you search big, beautiful obituary or when it happens on TikTok, you'll hear from a ton of people like this who aren't afraid to tell you how they're going to react.
One of the things that I'm looking forward to the most after the big, beautiful obituary is released is all the documentaries we're going to get to see. I will be binge watching.
When it finally does happen, no, I will be shaking this puss violently.
I'm going out onto my patio, I'm taking my loud ass speaker with me, turning it up all the way, and I'm playing No One Mourns the Wicked, and I'm singing along as loud as I possibly fucking can, at the top of my fucking lungs. I don't give a fuck what time it is. I don't give a fuck if it's 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. The second that news breaks, the show begins.
Me personally, I'm calling off work immediately. I'm going to bust the lawnmower out, mow my lawn, have me a nice little cook. I'm going to throw something on the grill. Steaks, chicken, kebabs, beef, burgers, hot dog, glizzy. I'm going to throw it all on the grill because it's going to be a time for celebration. See all that liquor behind me? Oh, that getting drunk up. I'm going to have me a party and y'all are all invited.
I'll eat a cookie and make some noise.
I will be framing that big, beautiful obituary, and it'll be going right on my wall.
I am going to celebrate like they did in Munchkinland.
When it finally happens, there will be a major boom in the economy. I'm telling you now, we are going to see articles that are going to say massive boom in the economy. Liquor sales, champagne sales, popcorn sales, maybe even fireworks depending on the month. Maybe even burgers and hot dogs so people can grill out. Because the celebrations are going to be that big. And not just here, it's going to be all over the world.
And keep in mind, that is a very small sample of people jumping on this trend. And I've got more TikToks to show you in a moment. But first, I just want to say that even though I can see the genuine joy in their eyes at the thought of this happening, it is deeply sad that it's come to this, where people feel like the only positive thing that could politically happen to them is momentary schadenfreude or relief over the death of a tyrannical politician. That's actually really sad because people deserve more than that. They deserve more than just feeling momentary happiness because something bad happened to a bad person. They don't deserve to feel so disillusioned with the system that this is all they could possibly look forward to. They deserve to see their standard of living increase and to have the government actually try to fix their problems. But the system has utterly failed them to the point where everybody only expects things to get worse. And they're not wrong to think that because that's the trajectory that we're headed on. Voting doesn't really change things that drastically. It just kind of determines how quickly things get more bad. And protesting has almost no impact on policy outcomes at this point. Even protesting in front of politicians' homes and disrupting their dinners when you see them at restaurants doesn't even get them to think about changing. In fact, they seem to enjoy antagonizing protesters. So people feel utterly powerless, and they feel like death is the only positive thing that can possibly come out of this rotten system. And Taylor Lorenz explained this phenomenon really well in a video where she talked about the somebody needs to do it trend and how the mass yearning for political assassinations and deaths is a sign of our system's complete and utter failure. And I'll link to that video down below and highly encourage you to check it out because it is fascinating. And that video was inspiration for this video because I also noticed that sentiment more and more. And I really started to get recommendations specifically for the when it happens trend, mostly after I saw a couple of TikToks about Trump's health, which tells me that TikTok's algorithm thinks that people who see videos about Trump's health also want to see videos about how people will celebrate his death, which is very telling. And one thing that stands out to me is that nobody who's participating in this trend seems to be under the illusion that Trump's inevitable demise will be some sort of catalyst for change. Everyone seems to understand that we've regressed so far, and Republicans have institutionalized fascism to such an irreversible extent that a different Republican could easily carry Trump's torch. It doesn't mean that they'll be successful because, as history has taught us, charismatic leaders aren't easily replaced, but the trend of authoritarianism almost certainly won't die with Donald Trump. You can't really close Pandora's box once it's been opened, and a lot of people making these TikToks seem to know that, and to them, it's more about the schadenfreude and the satisfaction that they'll feel knowing that someone who's caused so much pain and suffering at home and abroad is no longer in the world, can no longer hurt anyone else. And that sentiment was vocalized really well by this TikToker.
When it happens, know that I don't give a damn. I don't care that he was a father. I don't care that he was a person. I don't care that you can argue that someone in history was worse than him. I don't give a damn. Caring about that is above my pay grade and below my sense of wonder. So know now, if you try to hit me with DMs or comments, respect the dead, have some decorum, I will be going to that fly high date in your bio and making fun of your dead granddaddy for filling a gene pool so shallow and stupid to have produced a person who would willingly defend a racist, bigot, convicted felony harasser, and pedophile, completely separate and apart, online for free when they're already gone. I will be laughing at every single joke made online, no matter how insane. I hope there's fireworks. I hope there's an event. I just want you to respect the dead. And people in hell want ice water. Ask your buddy. He's gonna find out soon enough. God willing, whichever God you choose. That happening won't fix everything he passed or put in motion or ruined or broke or nominated to the Supreme Court for a life term or set us back 50 years about. No, it won't, but wow, will it feel good.
And that, in a nutshell, is what's driving this trend. And I echoed similar thoughts on the leftist mafia after Henry Kissinger passed away. In a sense, I was actually really mad that he died before he was ever brought to justice for the millions of deaths that he caused around the world. But the problem is that justice isn't possible in our rotten system, so the next best thing is the thought that maybe he was scared and experienced just a fraction of the pain and suffering that he caused before he died. And, you know, you have to understand that this was never something that I would ever say. Like, embarrassingly, 2015 me would have clutched his pearls at what 2025 me is saying. But the fact that I can say that and it's basically not controversial and seemingly everybody else agrees speaks to how rapidly things have deteriorated. We simply don't have a political system that is capable of producing positive results. And anything that is positive is incremental and fleeting. So the best that we get is just a tiny bit of pleasure whenever one of these demons dies. It's why so many people were laughing about the death of the United Health CEO after he was assassinated, because that's a natural response to the pain and suffering that that man inflicted on them, that the system inflicted on them. And when elites tried to guilt trip us by saying, oh, but he was a father and had children, it further proved how out of touch they were, because they never said that in response to the nameless victims of this health insurance CEO. The people who died because their claims were denied also had families. And the fact that pundits and politicians only ever humanize fellow elites, but not us, proves how out of touch they are and why we hate the system. They very clearly don't care about us, and they were implicitly admitting that in their commentary during that time. It's a double standard. But as you can now see, we hate them too. The feeling is mutual. And before Republicans come into this video and cry about people memeing about the big, beautiful obituary trend, just understand that Republicans joked about Nancy Pelosi's husband getting nearly killed. They justified the mass shooting at Club Q and had nothing to say about the political assassinations in Minnesota. DeSantis just covered up the Rainbow Crosswalk mural in Florida that was supposed to memorialize the 49 victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. Trump himself in 2016 joked about Hillary Clinton getting assassinated. So this ruthless new form of politics where people openly celebrate assassinations of CEOs and wish for Trump's death, this is the direct result of widespread frustration and powerlessness that arose from the destruction of our country due to late-stage capitalism and due to Trump's anti-reality death cult. They have so thoroughly destroyed this fucking country that to so many people, the only good that can possibly come of it is news that one of the people causing them so much pain is no longer in this world. And on that note, I've got some more miscellaneous TikToks to share, with some people making recommendations as to how you should celebrate and others just reacting to the trend in general.
I am absolutely loving this whole when it happens trend. I think it's the best thing to ever happen on TikTok, because I've noticed like 3 different responses generally. You have the first group, which is the biggest group of people, and they get it and they laugh and we all laugh together. We share that moment of joy. It's great. And you have a second group and they don't get it, but they're genuinely curious. They're like, well, when what happens? What are you all talking about? Like, y'all are adorable. I'm not going to explain it to you. Nope. But I appreciate your curiosity. Good luck with that. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Then you have the third group, and there's not many of them, but they're fun to mess with because they get mad. They can't help themselves. They'll be in the comments like, how dare you? We all know you're talking about.
Let's talk about professionalism and the importance of strategic PTO planning. Sure, a lot of people blow it all on long weekends, mediocre weddings, and whatever that weird self-care trip to Sedona was supposed to be. But you're smarter than that. And when that day finally comes, when the skies part and the group chats explode and Twitter becomes temporarily unusable from pure, unfiltered glee, you don't want to be stuck in a Zoom call listening to your boss explain pivot tables. You want to be free. You want to be ready. You want to be out in the streets, drunk on margaritas and democracy. There may be fireworks. There may be spontaneous tattoos. There definitely will be memes.
No, because when it happens, why would you blast No One Mourns the Wicked when Ding Dong the Witch is Dead is literally right there? Yes, on its surface, No One Mourns the Wicked is about people being happy because someone evil is gone. But on a deeper level, that song is about society being brainwashed and just blindly following the people in authority telling them what to believe.
Oh, well, I guess Rocco will never be able to float. Oh, well, too bad. Bye, Rocco.
Again, in a way, I feel this deep sadness that this is one of the few things that people are actually hopeful about. Like, they should be looking forward to more, but because of the predicament that our leaders have put us in and because of the system, that's the one thing they have to feel optimistic about. It's just sad, and it's further confirmation that we really are living in a dystopian hellscape because we're not really able to do much but vent about our predicament online, at least for now, until they take that away from us too. But this is why bread and circus was so crucial during the end of the Roman Empire, because if people were fed, if they were entertained, they were less likely to rebel against the system. But we've reached the point where less and less Americans are fed, and so many of the distractions that pacify the masses are no longer keeping them satisfied. I mean, think about the way that we live our lives these days. We're mostly just like isolated. It costs so much money to do anything. Public spaces are becoming less common. So people are sitting at home, they're alone, they're probably stewing, just doom scrolling, and over time, like, they're going to get more and more angry and disenchanted, which means that this sentiment is only going to continue to fester. And it's going to build to a point where it could turn into actual revolutionary behavior. And if that happens, it's going to be a real problem for the people in charge. I'm not saying that Americans are going to rise up and overthrow the government or anything like that anytime soon, because the police state that Trump is building right now is an insurance policy against that possibility. Nonetheless, even the strictest totalitarian regimes prefer populations that are more compliant because it's easier to distract and brainwash people than it is to crack skulls, even though they will if they need to. But if the political establishment really is invested in maintaining the system, it's going to be much harder for them to do that if they don't release at least a little bit of pressure and ease our suffering just a tiny bit. Like, that's what FDR did with his New Deal. But nearly 100 years later, we're about to experience what would have happened if FDR never did the New Deal. And based on what we're already seeing, things are going to get really fucking ugly. So leaders should probably do a New Deal. Otherwise, the peasants might actually bust out the pitchforks and revolt.